Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of, yes, you guessed it, Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11. And of course, well, we're playing Nihon, Japan, the Japs. Laid down even more pillboxes. We got our first run of pillboxes, probably the only run of pillboxes done up along the Soviet border here. But I added putting them building in some of these islands, and I'm also throwing in some up here. Well, no pillbox. We'll do a pillbox too. But also radars and air bases around to look deeper into the Soviet Union and places. Infiltration tactics. Okay, and that's grayed out. Okay, and prevents lost. Oh, uprising. Okay, well. Okay. Now let's break off the anti-aircraft gun. We will send them down here, then back to there. That'll move faster than that heavy artillery. Oh, and we need to, once we got done with that, armor piercing capped advanced. Very good. And we will stop that as well. I know we can't continue, but medium armor designs at least 4 to get these improved here. It seems to be is lower than 4, which is lower than 4 now. If you read down sort of right above where my cursor is, the moment I go off of it, it goes away. Gasoline engine needs to be at least 3, which we are not. We're not there yet. Or diesel engine, but we're doing gasoline. And extra wide track at least 1, and short barreled at least 2. Well, extra wide track we have to get to medium tanks level 4. Well, let's do that to at least level 2 here. So this may end up functionally, at least for a long time, and capping all of our infantry tanks sort of where they are now. Okay, and medium artillery brigades have advanced. Okay, that is here. Okay, here, yeah, let's do armored car upgrade. Thinking about this front here right now. If we were to put a lot of these units along that border, they're just going to sit there, because my current plans are, as you know, not to attack unless Germany's doing really well. but I want to look threatening. Yeah, some horse units might do okay. For all of these guys, I want to use in places like Burma and India and down, you know, in the South Pacific too. So let's see. What can we do that's cheap? Manpower is 3,000 for fascist militia. Regular militia is 3,000. Looks like where that's 6, that's 9,000. So 2 ICs, 1.5 ICs. Okay, so if we throw some militia guys out there, what cheap? Well, we can throw in a. Now, I don't even know if we want to do a horse transport. What? Recon, it's. Yeah, that's not that bad. Yeah, let's throw on a recon cavalry. So it's pretty low in manpower. Not that we're in stress now or that, but I'm just still sort of worried about. So I more want to look threatening than really look to fight anything. And I think that sort of does it. Guess they could be coming around this flank too. We may need to. Yeah. Well, this would be easier just. Okay, so we just the 2 provinces we need to throw on some bunkers, pillboxes to. We already a little bit of fortification there. Okay, so well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 will hold my sort of far west front. So we have 4 already. We need 4 more. I think that'll be good. It'll take a while before we get there, but we're looking at. I'm worried about this for 41, and German invasions and making the Soviets get nervous. Let's move you up there just to keep revolt risk from getting too out of hand and them taking our one sort of valuable province away from us, even temporarily while we're building, and it interrupts production of building. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste the ICs and the time and whatnot. Germany has decided the Ribbentrop Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Okay. You're still coming, okay. So that means war is about ready to break out, because it was like a week later that the war broke out historically. And yeah, I'm even more so looking at revolt risk and whatever. I want, because I don't trust the AI, and even if I wish they would have been able to puppet it in a way. I mean, this is good too, but they would have started with a bit more units. Okay, small ship classes has advanced. Very good. And we can research those, but it's way too soon to do so now. And we are, I do think, pushed. Yeah, okay, 0.1. We'll even take advantage of that 0.1 or 0.01 of a research point. Might even cut down officers here in a little bit. Well, let's start on battleship crew training. Most of this is going to go away after a while, the revolt risk. In Japan, at least. And be a little less in China as well. Okay, medium artillery. Well, I don't know that there's a speed negativity doing heavy anti-air, but we also get hard attack more and soft attack more by doing that, so we'll go with that. One. And German blueprint stolen. Great. Your Imperial Highness, our spies have stolen plans that let us improve our abilities with heavy bomber ground crew level training 1. That is good. We're not even able to research that yet. Very good. Now if you can get me pilot training or whatever for that, aircrew training, that would be useful. Not that we're going to have many of those, but we are building the one heavy transport armored car designs. Okay, I know we also here looking at submarine techs. Yeah, let's get torpedo tubes working as well. Or developing, or whatever I should say. Civil defense, home front focus is now available. This is nice. Supply production, provincial AA, and repair rate good, but man, 5% for each level of that. It's understandable. More people, particularly the AA, but even the production, more people producing things and repairing. Yeah. I sometimes can very much see their logic, but still sometimes it hurts to... And bridging equipment, very good. That is very useful. Get across those rivers. Oh, good. More police. More police. No leader. And yeah, that's pretty bad down there. So, well... let's drop them into there. And you get on board boats and come down to here. I got a motorized division you're needed for. These guys, I decided. Single engine aircraft armament, very good. Just waiting, I guess, on the engines. And yeah, we'll switch that over to medium bomber. Now I know this isn't the most exciting parts, and I understand if you... ooh, good, more German blueprints stolen. Radar for capital ships, very good. So we're going to stop that. And yes, come down here and get large ship radar. I'm still not quite sure what the logic is between breaking those up. I understand more research steps to go through to get more stuff, but I just don't understand it. Okay, Imperial Highness is our stolen plans that let us improve our abilities in damage control systems. Very good from the Germans for light vessels. That's nice. Okay, so we're already up at 40 now. Don't remember what it was before. It may have just been by 1, but still. That is nice. Germany designed a Danziger War, last chance for peace. Radars for cruisers, yes. So we're going to come over here and do medium warship radar. Very good. Armored car advance. I thought we already did that. Oh, that was this armored car. Yeah, it's going to go fast. We'll just let that happen. Okay, we decided to go on the offensive here, which is the Khalkhin goal, August offensive. The Japanese regrouped and planned a third major offensive against the Soviets. For the 24th of August, they never got the chance. Zhukov had been massing a major armored force in the form of 3 tank brigades, and that's pre-war, so that may be pretty large formations. So by the time you're really getting into 41 and whatnot, a lot of times when you hear for the great bulk of the time that the Germans are fighting the Soviets, when you hear a Soviet division, think brigade. When you hear brigade, think sort of battalion or reinforced battalion type strengths. Just always think that the Soviets do that. But I think early on, well, if I remember correctly, I don't want to say I know, but sort of at some point pre-war, a lot of the Soviet formations were very big, maybe even like square division type things. And because of their lack of communications set up and down the chain, they were very unwieldy to operate, to command. So you could plan out big sort of, I don't know if World War I's the right term, but big sort of formation maneuvers just fine. But the problems was not just things are going to fall apart once you get contact with the enemy. Things start falling apart almost immediately because of roadblocks, traffic jams, and just things not working right, and the inability to communicate that around to, like, oh, we'll bring the gasoline over here, or have the cooks deliver the food there. Because you got to remember, like, the Soviets, I don't think before World War II they had anything like, I don't know if they ever really did have anything like C rations, pre-packaged box of food that would last, a year or more. I don't know if C rations would still be edible this long after World War II. Some elements, the saltine crackers and some of the canned food, it very well may be still edible. If you had a good conditioned, well storage C rations from the time period. I know they were, for like Korea, in the Vietnam, they were still giving out World War II C rations to U.S. soldiers, production date stuff. So the Soviets didn't have that kind of stuff, and you can look at the Germans didn't have that kind of stuff in any large extent. I don't even think the French had it, and the French came up with the C ration. Well, not really. A little bit of history. The sort of meat cooked and sort of bringing to boiling temperature in a can, sealed up, started with the latter part of the Napoleonic Wars. Sort of the tin can. And tin is a valuable and expensive mineral or metal or whatever it is. I think it's on the periodical periodic table, and I'm pretty sure it is. It's found in Cornwall. Some of the reasons why Julius Caesar's so interested in Britain, because they do know tin comes from that. Now, often tin has been a trace element in things, but it has always been a very critical, very hard to get, and very, very valuable going back to the Bronze Age. Because before the Bronze Age, basically you have the Copper Age, and I don't know quite, because you can look at copper tools, and copper tools are around. Keep hearing that, oh, it's a ceremonial dagger, or it's a ceremonial axe, or it's a ceremonial whatever that's copper that's sort of survived. I'm not doubting. Well, what I guess, because a lot of times they're finding them in grave goods, and so that I will grant you, the grave good very well may be ceremonial. But I often wonder about, because copper's a soft metal, I often wonder if they were just using them up and recasting. So like a copper axe, I don't know how many, you know, maybe they've gotten and just got pure copper and tried to cut down a tree and realized it doesn't, you know, get a quarter of the way through the tree or something. Maybe they've done that experimental archaeology, but I've often thought that maybe because it's so soft, but it's still usable, because you got to look at like a lot of the ancient Egypt. That was sort of done more in the Copper Age, you know, the building of the pyramids and stuff. The real ancient Egypt was done that, and they did a lot of. I think they used a lot of copper tools, and they just recycled that a lot. So, but then you roll around into the Bronze Age, which is basically adding tin to it. So tinning cans is you're taking a metal, you know, whether it's steel or just iron metal, and tinning it so that it doesn't rust. And that whole thing, and also sort of, because they had preserves beforehand, you know, making normally it's some sort of fruit, but normally in like a jar, glass jar, or a pottery thing, making preserves, but really the sort of boiling up and meat, you know, putting cooked meat or cooking the meat actually in the can itself at times, but sealing that up so that it would last not indefinitely forever, but last for months or years. Starts at the end in France, sort of at the end of the Napoleonic era, right around there. Very much to help feed the troops, but it is extremely expensive and extremely rare at the time, and so most soldiers never even maybe even hear of it, let alone ever taste any of it. But it's something that they're trying to solve, this problem of feeding the troops with food, you know, and on the march, and storing it up and preserving it and be able to move it like that. And that starts in the Napoleonic Wars. And I don't, you know, I'm not saying the French didn't have any, you know, obviously canned food. They did have canned food. Lots of people had canned food like that, you know, at this time. But I'm just guessing they didn't have a sort of whole sea ration, you know, prepared meal in a box or something handing out. Most of, you know, at the beginning of World War II, most of the armies are delivering and cooking food in the field. And now the U.S. Army is doing this too, but they also have sea rations for when that is inconvenient. But Germany very much, and Germany does develop a sea ration like thing after a while. I'm not exactly sure when, and it may even be pre-war, but it's not as nearly as common as the American sea ration. And so I really don't think the Soviets have that. So moving very large formations around, you have the problem is that normally you can't move and cook at the same time. Not that it's impossible, it's just impractical, especially, you know, looking at the Soviet Union. And, you know, I've yet to see catering trucks. You know, I'm sure they had mobile field kitchens. I just can't imagine them not. And I may have even seen photos of it, but I'm just not recalling any at the moment. The Germans definitely had a nice mobile field kitchen trailer thing that they towed around, and so did the French. I think the British did also, and yes, I think the Americans. Well, the Americans, I don't know if did have that. I know they had a truck. I know this is maybe not what you were wanting coming into this episode for. They did have, you know, a standard sort of your largish, you know, 3-axle military troop truck type thing you want to picture for the U.S. Army. Picture that, just that with a regular canvas cover type thing, and they had a modular system that would go into it, and for 3 cook ovens that were the same, that could be I think turned on and used while on the go, as long as you're not bouncing around too much, to cook up food in it. And so, but you could take them out of the truck and like put them under a tent or into a building or other sort of thing. And they used gasoline. So I wonder how well the food tasted. But they used gasoline as the fuel for the cook engines, just the same as you're putting in the cars. And yes, boys and girls, the Americans had, I mean, we can talk about Patton running out, you can see it in the movie, or whatever, running out of fuel for his tanks that he's trying to push forward. But yes, the Americans had so much gasoline, they used it to cook with as a standard cooking thing, where like the Germans, they cooked with wood or coal or some other thing. They didn't cook with gasoline. They used every bit of gas they had for a vehicle transportation. But then the American, I try to demonstrate how Man of the High Castle's out recently with this, and I presume many of you have watched it. But how just really unlikely, how you've really got to reshape the world to have an Axis victory against America. We've talked about it, how maybe particularly Germany, if they won enough kind of things in Europe, you may get there was a Rutger Hauer movie, and I'm forgetting the title, and I watched it a few years ago now. Recently, I watched it way back when, but it's sort of set sometime after World War II, like in the 60s, I think it is, because they have the Beatles in it. But it's Germany had won in Europe, and there's sort of been a Cold War between Germany and America. So there was America going on at the time and whatnot. So something like that, a maybe. But because I just see all the industrial power, you just really got to make some repeated bad moves. Because if we look at the Japanese fleet, the American and the German fleet, realistically, if they sink all of the American ships, the Americans are just going to build more, and you're just not able to, they're just going to build more so much faster. I just can't imagine a practical U.S. victory. So, but back to the food. So the U.S. had these field kitchen trucks, much more. And I think they may have had a trailer too. Like a trailer, because the ones I'm picturing, I know the French had and the British had and the Germans had, were sort of a square boxy trailer with just, two wheels, single axis kind of thing that was single axle thing that was towed behind trucks or whatever. And that can be put on sort of simmering heating and moved. Those trailered ones were sort of designed to, keep a wood fire burning in them. They're like, again, all of those that I know of are designed to cook on wood. So you could, get that going and then tow it around a bit for the, where you're going to show up. But it gets, especially in the Soviet Union, it's big, you're moving around. It becomes really impractical to really cook, much and prepare a lot of food, because you're also baking bread. Because bread's going to go bad. And so you're baking bread, you're cooking, you can preserve hams and some meats like that a bit, but it's just, so you can just imagine all of the, oops, somebody's not doing something right, food isn't here, we can't go until we get the food for the next couple of days, so we're waiting for the trucks to show up, the trucks get sent to the wrong place, then they come here. And so these formations, to get back to it, are too big with too little communications up and down to readily react to things. So the Soviets cut down the size of the formations at some point, at least for most. I think like the Guards divisions and a few of the others stay at large formations, and that's sort of why they're elite, in that it's a Guards division. Yeah, it's actually sort of a German or an American sort of divisional size unit instead of a brigade size unit. You get that? Okay, the Kuomintang army, by contrast, mustered only 2 light, the armed divisions at the point of attack, built around Lieutenant General Michitaro Kawatsubara's 23rd Division, whose headquarters had been at Halir, the capital of Hosang, Manchu province, over 150 kilometers from the fighting. Their intelligence also failed to detect the scale of the Soviet buildup or the scope of the attack that Zhukov was planning. Zhukov decided it was time to break the stalemate. Damn, okay. Damn them. So we lose some manpower, I guess, casualties, supplies, and damage our relations even more. As you know, I've been trying to get better and better relations to try to, and of course I could have not pushed, but I wanted to see what this event. Yes, Germany decided Blitzkrieg. See what the event is going on up here. New industrial zone is ready. Okay. So if I were you as a player, I probably would not push on that. There may be some sort of bonus coming, you know, at some point, like, oh, because you've did all this, you've got, you know, a bunch of extra, you know, training effects or something. I don't know. Yes, heavy anti-aircraft. These are just so quick to do, and we're going to the second round of that. That's why, even though I'm going to, you know, I don't know how many I don't think I've built a single armored one. We've done a few motorized support brigades. Well, okay, we got the last one there, and yes, we will get to the anti-air soon. That's all 41. That's coming along. Yeah, let's develop the Long Lance torpedo. The Long Lance torpedo, I don't think, was ever used in a submarine. The sort of famous Long Lance torpedo the Japanese used was a destroyer mounted torpedo, and it was very big. That's why I don't think it was used in a submarine. Don't know for sure, but I know it was very big. And Japanese submarines, well, they did make some, you know, the I-400. Those actually, I built 3 of them, but they only got 2 ready for the war. You know, the big Japanese, as like the French, had the big Super Sokuf, but submarine that carried 1 aircraft. But the Japanese built a bunch, 10, 20, yeah, normalish size submarines that just carried a single aircraft on them as a scout. Britain made 1 aircraft submarine in the early 20s as well, but Japan did a bunch in the sort of mid 30s, and they're okay, but they're not super big, and so most of the Japanese submarines I wouldn't think would be particularly big enough to easily handle a Long Lance. They could do it, I'm sure. Okay, heavy cruiser armor has advanced, and we're going to stop that because it's now 42. Okay, so we are ready to start doing some cruiser production. Technologically, we are at least. Well, yeah, we'll go with destroyer crew training. Yes, the big thing we're doing is building stuff right now. Upgrades, which is slowing down building stuff, but I want to get things upgraded. Okay, armored car upgrade, and I'm guessing, yeah, that's grayed out now. Okay, well, those will help. Okay, giant infrastructure projects and monumental architecture. Let's come down here. Um, 1%, I see, that's hardly much. 5% supply throughput, that's okay, but we've already got railway or railroad tycoon which is double that in both of these cases, so it's obviously worth more. Yeah, I know theoretically we're sort of supplying supplies for all this stuff, but and no, I don't know, because you know, obviously it thinks some port, like maybe here. Yes, here is its main supply port in through Shanghai, which is a very good supply port to supply through, but it looks like, I think the way this works, it's only going to be bringing in what it thinks locally here. So you know, once we're down over here, is it still going to want to try to move supplies here across whatever sort of pseudo-Burma road type thing, or will it move in, you know, along the sea? So we may have some problems with supply, but I don't think, and even if we go after the Soviet Union, we're not going to be plunging too deep. We're going to maybe get ports up here, you know, even up here possibly. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be, you know, where if I was Germany, I'd be, you know, yeah, well, Germany, we get it for free, because I just, enough of the Autobahn was built and designed before 36. They continued to build it after. I've revised my opinion on how much was built after. Just some of my early research really stuff I was coming across was all sort of 36 and before. Now, I still think of what they built. I think about at least 60 or more percent was built before 36. They continued building, and I don't mean just expanding into places like Poland or Czechoslovakia, which and into Austria, which I'm pretty sure they were doing. At least, I don't know if they were building an Autobahn. I don't know if they ever really built an Autobahn to like Warsaw, but they were doing, if I remember correctly, some sort of something across the Danzig corridor over to, you know, Königsberg, you know, the main element on East Prussia there. And yeah, they were building improved highways. I don't know exactly how much, into like Prague and into definitely into Vienna, you know, later on. Definitely doing that stuff, but I think I'm really thinking about inside the non-expansive Reich. It's less, I think it's less than 80% was already done sort of by 36, but they were continuing to do more of it. But still, so I'm still pretty comfortable with saying, yeah, Germany gets that for free, you know, to start. Everybody else is sort of lagging behind, to sort of give a bonus here. So we have mining, again, 10% manpower, 5% ICs, oil, energy, metal. I don't think it's worth it for us. We're not Germany. We're trading for oil for now, and then we have hopefully a bunch, though we can always come back to it and research it later, you know, down here in Indonesia and other places for oil. So for now, I'm not going to do giant infrastructure project. Now, big building thing. Yes, let's see. We have Imperial Seat of Government. That's good. We have advanced education. That's good. So, Imperial War Ministry, 5% land organization, 5% air, naval reinforcement bonus. Very good. That's useful. Feared National Police, revolt risk down by 5%. That would be very useful. I think those are the two most useful for us sort of in the near future. Not that Palace of the Party or something isn't useful too. This Imperial Finance, maybe, maybe not. This, I don't know if major movie studio also costs a lot, but So yeah, so I'm just thinking, so here, we're not going to do giant infrastructure projects. We're sticking at these two. No need to waste that. But we can re-examine in 40 or 41 the possibility of doing that. And then of course you have research efficiency is lowered by that. But this, I think, will help. So we'll do that. And it also does help with the ICs, so that's good. Let's push that ahead. Oh, and we have a 0.04 more. Yeah, so let's get that sort of rocking. Oh, okay, you can stop flying. Industrial production advance, very good, that's nice, and we're going to let that one go. I mean, the negativities here are eventually balance out to pure positives if you're bouncing back and forth between both of those roughly equally and effectively, so. It's not like some of these other ones that are just eating into your manpower or eating into your resources or eating into other things. The more you do them, because if you do both, they balance each other out and expand on both of the things. Okay, good. We're getting through some of these, getting into some of those. Militia. Well, I think this is a good time to end the episode. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. I do appreciate that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Love to see you around more often. And also, I love hearing from you if you want to correct me on some of the stuff about field kitchens and field rations. I'd love to hear it. Or any other good, interesting topic. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.